أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. We these days are in the halq, the letters of the throat. We took the hamza and the ha, and yesterday we did the ain and the ha. Just from the sake of review, it's upon everyone to understand that every letter, its articulation is based upon tasadum al-udwain. Two entities have to collide with one another. There is no letter that is pronounced except that there are two entities that must collide with one another. They must come together. They must bang together. They must collide with one another. So it's upon us in every letter to know what are these two things that have to come together to collide on the flow of air and sound. We draw this picture here over and over. This is the mouth up here, and this is the here, and this is the tongue. You all bear with me. Here's the man's lungs. He has sound that's coming out of his mouth. It's coming out of his mouth. He takes the middle of his tongue and he picks it up here and he stops the flow of sound there. So he says, asha. According to what he closes, what two things collide, that depends on the sound that comes out. He takes the tip of his tongue and he puts it up to the roof of the mouth, and the flow is going atta, adda, atto, depending on where he's at. This is his tongue here, his teeth here, and his bottom teeth are here. He brings it close to his teeth. He goes asa. Before he moves his teeth close, his tongue to his teeth, the sound is flowing. He's going to put two things together to stop the flow of air and sound that's flowing. When these two entities come together, they join together. They either collide together or they become close together. They create what is called a letter, a sound, a harf. So while the sound is going, it says as, and the same thing in his throat. This is his throat. While he's saying he takes the back of his tongue and he puts it up there. It stops the flow of the air. The air is flowing. He brings his tongue up. He says ero. It changes the sound. The sound has a different sound. We're just coming out. Because he stopped the flow. He used two entities to stop the actual flow of air and sound that was going. We also explained, and we want every student to recognize this and knows this, that the letters, every letter has a description regarding that which is in it concerning a salt and nefes. Salt means sound. Nefes is air. The word is not nefs, it's nefes. Nefes is air. Every letter has its own description concerning these both descriptions, has its own specifications concerning these two descriptions. Every letter has its own specifications concerning these two descriptions, A meaning sound and air. There are some words that the air flows and the sound flows, like the scene. When I make a scene with a sukun, I go, the air was flowing, the air flowing. I put two things together, but when I joined these two things together to make that sound that's called scene, it didn't stop the air, nor did it stop the sound. The sound continued to flow and the air continued to flow. The same thing with a sheen. Ash, ash. That sound and air is flowing. I put the middle of my tongue with the roof of my mouth to make this thing that is called sheen. Ash. But when I joined these two things together, it didn't stop the air, nor did it stop what? The sound. So these two letters, the air flows and the sound flows. There are other letters that the sound stops and the air stops. Like what? Like the dal. تقول آد يوم الدين من الحق. For the dal and the qaf. When you pronounce these two letters, even though the air is flowing, I call ad. When you put these two entities together that are for the makhraj of the dal, it stops the sound and stops the air. The same thing with the qaf. The same thing with, some of you might be surprised, the same thing with the jim. The jim in Arabic is not aj, but it's ajja, ajja, al-hajja, naam bil-hajji, naam. It's a strong letter. It stops the flow of sound. It stops the flow of air. There are other sounds. This is a category by itself. There are other letters that in it the sound flows, but there's no air. The sound flows, but there's no air. Like what? Like the that. You go to وَإِذْ قُلْنَا يُكَذِّبُونَ يُكَذِّ. There's no air in it, but there is sound that flows. Now, يُكَذِّبُونَ. Also from amongst that is the ghain. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ الْمَغْ. The sound flows, but there's no air in it. Now, and you have some letters that the sound stops, but the air flows. Sound stops, but the air flows. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبْلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. خُلِقَتْ. So the sound stops in the ta, but afterwards the air flows. There's only two letters like that, the kaf and the ta. يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ يَسْتَكْ. The sound stops, but the air continues to flow. Now, so these are four different categories. Now, this is going to, before we go on, this is our review before we go on. The word that we use for stopping the air or stopping the sound is called habs. Either it's habs salt or habs nefis. You either stop the sound or you stop the air. This word alone, habis, if we heard this word habis, stop the sound or stop the air, this word conveys that you have to be hard when you join those two entities together. Because you're the one, you're the reader, you have to stop the sound. It's going to take from you some type of strength to do this. You're not going to be soft when you articulate these letters, that in it, its description is either habs salt or habs nefis. What does salt mean? I mean, habs salt, stopping the sound. أو حبس النفس, or stopping the air. This word alone, if we hear the word habas, that indicates that you have to use some strength. You're going to be a little hard when articulating. The opposite of habas is jariyan. Jariyan means comes from yajri, to run, to flow. So you have some letters that have jariyan assault, the stout flows. Oh, jariyan and nefas, the air flows. Any letter you hear that has a description of jariyan, that means you're going to be soft. You're going to be khafif. You're going to be soft when you bring these two entities together. Because you don't want to stop the flow of air. And you don't want to stop the flow of sound. Is that clear, Ya Muhammad? Ya Aba Amir? If we have that in mind, then it is imperative that we know for every letter what is in this letter concerning air and sound. Does it flow? Is it suppressed? Does it flow? Is it suppressed? So we know. That's one thing. But before even knowing what is in this, what is in the letter from the air and the sound, we want to know what are the two things that have to join together. It is not enough to say that the Hamza is from the letters of the throat. What do I do? Because we say every sound has to have two things colliding together. I say ka, ma, fa. Two things have to collide together no matter what letter it is. So we have to know what are these two entities that we have to bring together. Once we know these two entities, then we have to find out what is in it from preventing the sound or the air, or letting the sound or air flow, so we would know, do we have to bring these two entities together? Do we have to bring these two entities together with some sort of strength, or with some type of gentleness? Let's go back into what we studied. We studied so far al-ha wal-hamza. We studied the hamza and the ha. What are the two things that come together, that join together in the hamza and the ha? What are the two things that come together? Now, what are the two entities that we have to put together? When you go as-sama, when you say ma'wahum, has a sukoon. What did we do to make that sound? Ma'wahum yu'minun. I hear something. I hear something. As-sama. What did I do? What was done? In the throat here, there's something that's called autar sawtiya. It's like that in your throat. And the sound comes up like that and it passes this thing. You have the ability to close this thing and make it like that. You have the ability to close it. And you have the ability to open it. Naam. It's two strings. They're called autar. They're strings. Naam. When you close it totally, there's a sound that comes out. We call it a hamza. When you close it a little bit and the sound vibrates on it, because you close it a little bit, that sound is called the ha. And this is what we mean, what the hamza and the ha is in the same makhraj, meaning they have the two same entities that create the sound. They share the makhraj, meaning they share these two entities that make the sound. Then what is the difference between them two? What is the difference between the hamza and the ha? We're going to say the hamza, habas sawt, habas nafs, habas and nafs. The hamza, the sound is stopped, and the nafs, the air is stopped. There's a hard letter. Ma'wahum yu'minun. It's a hard letter. How we know that it's hard? Because the sound stopped and the air stopped when it's sukoon. So you can't say ma'wahum yu'minun, yu'minun, ma'awahum, ma'wahum. What's the difference between these two letters? The difference is on two areas. One area is what you're actually going to do. This one you're going. This is open on the Hamza. You're going to shut it close. That's one thing. You're going to shut it close. On the Ha, it's open. You're just going to bring it. You're going to close it a little bit so that the air is flowing. Look at this here. The air is flowing. It's flowing. Now, then when you close this thing, the air stops right there. Stop, stop, stop. When I open it, it comes out. If we look at this example, this is a Hamza, that's a Shadda. We said that in Arabic, there is no letter in Quran that has a Hamza or the Shadda on it. But in Arabic, there is. In the Quran, there isn't. But we're just going to try this word here. I want you to close it and then open it up to see where are these two entities in your throat. You all are after me. You control that. They're called autar sautia. They're two strings. You bring it together. Now you bring it together. Right? And when it's a ha, what are you doing? When it's a ha, you're going to just bring this one close a little bit that way. And this one, you're going to close it a bit that way. So it's going to be a smaller area. It's going to be a smaller area. There's a battery here. Look at this word here. Mahili. Look at this word. Mahili. This is the ha. What do we know about the ha? Does the air continue to flow? Yes. Does the sound continue to flow? Yeah. Be soft. Don't bring them together. Go mahili, mahili. No. There is no cutting off of the air whatsoever. So you all are after me. Repeat after me. Famahili. Now let the air continue. It's not going to stop, not a little bit. Famahili. Tayyib. Barakallahu fikum. We want to look at this further. Look at this here. What does this say? Massahu, massahu, massahu. Did the sound stop? Did I say massahu, massahu? I say massahu. When I'm in, what does the shadda mean? What does the shadda mean? That means that there's two scenes there. There's two scenes. The first one has a sukoon. The second one has a fatha. Massahu. That's what the shadda means. Okay? When I recite this, I'm not going to say massahu, massahu. No, the sound is not going to stop. Massahu. So let's go back to this here. The scene, the air flows and the sound flows. Just like the ha. The ha also, the air flows and the sound flows. So we're going to say, famahili. We're not going to say famahili. If somebody says famahili, he joined it together too hard. From when he joined it like that, what happened? The sound stopped and the air stopped. Why did it stop? Because he was too hard. So it's upon us to know what is in this letter with reference to the flow of air or the suppression of air, and what is in this letter regarding to the flow of sound or the suppression of sound, so I know how to articulate it. So you all are after me. Famahili. So if somebody says famahili, you're going to tell them khaffif, soften up on the letter. You are in the right makhraj, but the way you are pronouncing it is incorrect. You're joining these two entities and other than what is requested. Ya Muhammad, you understand that? Ya Khalil, that's clear. Tayyib. If we understand that, we're going to go on to two other letters that we took yesterday. Yesterday, we took the Ain and the Ha. When we take another makhraj, meaning it's going to be two different entities that are colliding together. We have the Ain and the Ha. What are the two entities that are colliding together on the Ain and the Ha? This is your tongue. It's the end of your tongue. And this is your throat. We said on the Ain and the Ha, you have to literally take your tongue and move it backwards. So you have the flow of air coming here out of your mouth. This is the flow of air. You're saying, when your tip of the tongue just came across this flow of air, the air is going. When your tongue went back and added some pressure and rubbed up against that flow of air, a sound came out. We call it a ha. Type this ha, in it is juriyan nefis. The nefis flows. Juriyan sound. The sound continues to flow. Anything that has in it juriyan means be soft, be gentle. What are the two entities? The two entities are what? The back of the tongue here and the wall of the throat. You're going to bring these two entities together. This wall of the throat, it doesn't move, but you're going to move your tongue backwards. This gap here is the flow of air. When you pronounce the ha, you just bring it back a little bit, and you pronounce the ha. Yeah. Some people, like we mentioned before, they say Ar-Rahman. Sound stopped. Why? Because he did it too hard. He moved it back too hard. Ar-Rahman. Rahman. No. Rahman. It flows. So if anything flows, the air flows and the sound flows, that shows that you have to be very gentle. You have to be very gentle. But the first thing you must know, what are the two entities that have to join one another? What are the two entities that must collide with one another? In the Ain and the Ha is the Lisan al-Mizmar, this back of the tongue, and Jidar al-Halq in the back of the throat. The back of the throat doesn't move, so you have to move your tongue back. Tayyib. If that is clear, now we want to look at the Ain. What are we going to say about the Ain with reference to the two entities that have to collide? It's just as the Ha, the back of the tongue and the back of the throat. Now, what are we going to say about the Ain with regarding sound and nefes? What are we going to say about it? In the Ain, there is no nefes. When we say habis and nefes, you're going to have to be you're going to have to stop the air, that flow of air. You have to stop it. And what are we going to say about the sound? The sound, most of it is stopped. Only a little bit flows. When most of it is stopped, this is another reason for you to be stern when you say this. Meaning, this is the flow of air. It's flowing. You move your tongue back so much that only that little bit comes out. All of this was coming out beforehand. All of this was coming out. All of that was coming out. But then when you move your tongue back, all of this was cut off except one strand. For example, this is just an example. One strand left. So you say, Iyaka na'budu. It's no air. Na'budu. The Ain is not like the scene that goes, nasta'in, nas. This is na. If I wanted to continue, I say na. I can't. I done cut everything off. That way came out, which came out, and there's nothing left. That's the nature of the Ain. So the Ain and the Ha, they're in the same area. The same two entities have to join one another. except that the ha, jariyan nafis, jariyan saut. What does jariyan mean? The flow of the sound and the flow of the air. As for the ain, habas nafis. Habas means it stops it. Habas and al-habs in Arabic means to be imprisoned. Habas, stopped. Mahbas is what you call the faucet. When you open up the shower, you call it a mahbas. When you close it, it stops the water. Stops the water. Naam. Tayyib. That's the ain and the ha. Our lesson for today, all that was review, is the ghain and the kha. Our lesson today is the ghain and the kha. What is the ghain and the kha is in the throat. When we say that it's in the throat, that is not enough to let us know what is it that I have to strive to intentionally bring together. What are the two entities that must be brought together in order to initiate this sound? We must know that. Everything this in the tongue, there's something that's called jadr lisan, the root of the tongue. Like a tree has roots that keeps it planted, the root of your tongue, which keeps it planted in your mouth, the very end of your tongue, where it is tied down to your mouth. That's one entity. The other entity is the roof of your mouth. The roof of your mouth has an area that's what? That's soft jelly-like, and you have another area that's hard. This back area in your mouth is soft jelly-like. Soft jelly-like. And this up here is hard, bone-like. This here is bone-like. When you take the root of your tongue here, gently, son, and you pick it up there, we have two letters, the ghain and the kha. The ghain and the kha. Let's start with the kha. The kha, jariyan nafas. Jariyan saut. The air flows and the sound flows. Are we going to be hard or are we going to be soft? We're going to be hard or we're going to be soft? We're going to be soft. So look, this is your tongue here. Soon as your tongue hits the roof of your mouth, it has initiated the sound of the kha. It doesn't need any pressure. You just put your tongue on that area, and it flows. It doesn't stop flowing. You by putting your tongue, the root of your tongue, where it's tied down to your mouth, just by you putting it up to the roof of your mouth and all the way in the back, just by it touching alone, the kha is completed. Don't say but that strength. No, it's you just raise it up a little bit. How do we know that it's a little bit? Because you still want the sound to flow and you still want the air to flow. So all you have to do is just put your tongue on that area a little bit. You all are after me. Sakha. These are the words of the Quran. Sakhara. You're not going to say sakhara. The sound is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. So you are the reader. Who's the reader? You are the letters. You. The letters are not the reader. You're the reader. Sakhara. Sakhara. Tayyib. Al-ghain. What do we say about the ghain? What are the two entities that have to meet together? It's the same as the kha, because the ghain and the kha is in the same makhraj. What does it mean that it's in the same makhraj? Mean the same two entities have to collide. What are the same two entities? Jadr al-lisan. Jadr, the root of the tongue and the roof of the mouth, the jelly-like area. It's called what? Al-hanak al-lahmi, that meaty, soft type area in the back of your mouth. When you raise it up, okay, once we know that, what are we going to say about the ghain in reference to sound and nefes? What are we going to say about the ghain? with regards to the flow of air or the lack of flow of air, and the flow of sound or the lack of flow of sound. The rain, there's no air. Habas and nafas. This word habas indicates what? Gabil rough. Walakin in it is jariyan. So jariyan means what? Gabil soft. This one you have to be middle. You have to be middle. So you want to say error. You all after me. Error. Error. You're not going to say غير. You're not going to say غير المقدوبي. مقدوبي. مق. No, the sound does not stop. This is المغدوبي. This is the ghain. It has a sukoon. It's not maq, because the sound doesn't stop. It's المغدوبي. المغ. So when the one who's saying maqdubi, is he in the right area with the two entities? Yes, he's in the right area, but he's jamming it together. And he should just bring it together softly. He's jamming it together. غير المقدوبي. maq. It's not maq, it's mero. Mero. The sound has the flow. Nah. So we're going to end with this last point. We want you all to recognize. When you lift this up here, this is the bottom tone. When you lift this up here, you stop the air and the sound still flows. Sound still flows. But when the sound is flowing, if you relax a little bit, the air is going to come out also. Meaning you could take your rain and put some pressure, relax a little bit, and your rain is going to become a what? A kha. Nothing you say, el. You had it up there a little bit to make the air stop. El. Then you relax more, it became a different letter because the air came out and what? Now it's a kha. So this is our lesson for today. We have finished the letters of what? The throat. Tayyib, this is our day, Thursday. Inshallah, when we come back on Sunday, we want to look at some words that have these letters in it so we can practice articulating it correctly. This is where we want to stop today. If there are no questions, we will stop here. As far as the Arabic book now is on, what's the word? Whoever wants to buy it online can do so. So they just have to go to the website and they will find where to buy it from PayPal. Whoever wants to buy the Arabic book, now they can do so. It's online. I forgot to mention this in the earlier class. This is where we're going to stop. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Actor.